The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good Thursday morning, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. So, right now at the moment, me and Carol are flying solo today. So, but we're gonna make this happen, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it do the best we can. Good morning, everyone.
As far as interest groups are concerned, we got one interest group tonight. One of Carol's favorites. What is it?
Let's talk Espanol.
Yeah, let's talk Spanish with Mr. Jesus Bautista, and again, he's an elderly gentleman that retired educator, but again, he's definitely bilingual, and I guess in school he taught a lot of ESL courses, and now he's kind of flipping it the other direction for us here on Blind United. So if you want to learn how to speak a little Spanish, conversational Spanish, he's not getting into the full, whole the structure of the Spanish language, but he's giving you enough conversational Spanish where you can communicate with your neighbors or whoever the case may be, which you might interact with throughout the course of your day, and just try to help that work out a little bit easier, try to break that language barrier between y'all and make sure that, again, you get your Happy Meal right.
Right. Yo hablo muy poco español, pero lo entenderé. I speak very little Spanish, but I understand and I'm trying.
Well, and again, she attends that class regularly, so she sounded like she knew what the hell she was talking about to me. So it's all good. So, but anyway, we've been staying away from a lot of political stuff lately, and not that I really want to dive back into it, but I just thought it was important to, refresh everybody's memory and make people aware of what's happening, around us due to some of, the current administration's policies.
Right.
So the first one we're going to jump into is going to be all about healthcare and changes to that, and the effects it's having on folks in society due to that. So anyway, let's check this out, and then we'll talk about it again on the other side.
Blind United crew, grab your first cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this first article. As President Donald Trump begins his second term, his administration is implementing sweeping changes to health coverage policies that are already reshaping access to care across the United States. These changes are part of a broader effort to reduce federal spending, increase state autonomy, and promote personal responsibility in healthcare decisions. While some view these reforms as necessary corrections, others warn they could deepen disparities and leave vulnerable populations behind. One of the most significant proposals is a $1 trillion reduction in healthcare spending, with Medicaid facing the largest cuts. The administration is pushing for a national work requirement for Medicaid recipients aged 19 to 64, mandating 80 hours per month of employment, education, or volunteer service to maintain coverage. This policy, already adopted in several states, is expected to expand nationwide. According to the Budget Office, these changes could result in 11.8 million people losing coverage by 2034, disproportionately affecting low-income families, older adults, and people with disabilities. The impact is especially severe in rural and underserved communities, where Medicaid supports critical access hospitals, emergency services, and maternal care. With fewer insured patients, hospitals in these areas face financial strain, and some may be forced to close. This could lead to longer travel times for emergency care and reduced access to specialists, particularly in states with limited healthcare infrastructure. In addition to Medicaid reforms, the Trump administration is allowing ACA subsidies to expire, which had previously helped millions afford coverage through the Affordable Care Act exchanges. Without these subsidies, premiums are expected to rise, making insurance unaffordable for many working families. The administration has also scaled back outreach and enrollment support, further reducing participation in ACA plans. On the regulatory front, the administration is emphasizing price transparency, requiring hospitals and insurers to publicly disclose the costs of procedures and services. While this initiative aims to empower consumers to make informed choices, critics argue that it does little to address the underlying affordability of care. Moreover, the administrative burden of compliance may strain smaller providers. The newly formed Make America Healthy Again Commission, led by HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is tasked with investigating chronic disease causes and streamlining federal health programs. While the Commission's goals include reducing long-term healthcare costs and improving outcomes, its work is still in early stages, and its recommendations have yet to be implemented. For communities across the country, from urban centers to rural towns, the Trump administration's health coverage policies represent a turning point. Supporters argue that these reforms will reduce fraud, encourage employment, and restore fiscal discipline. Opponents warn that millions could lose coverage and that the most vulnerable, children, seniors, and people with disabilities, will bear the brunt of the changes. As the nation watches these policies unfold, the question remains, will the pursuit of efficiency and cost-cutting come at the expense of equity and access? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I mean, again, right now I'm being honest. I feel blessed, lucky, whatever, to be living in California. With all of these Medicaid cuts and stuff like that. A lot of people don't realize in California, we don't call it Medicaid, we call it Medicare, because California has gone above and beyond what Medicaid provides. So they kind of changed up a little bit.
Right.
But again, it's just truly, truly sad that we even got to go through all of this in supposedly the richest country on the planet, right? Again, even though we supposedly are the richest country, whatever, most other countries, they don't have this issue. They don't have to pay for their health care. You know what I'm saying? It's provided, but yet because we live in I guess that's why we're considered to be the richest, because we're a capitalistic society to where they charge you for everything,
Right.
And it's outrageous. $50 for a regular Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? Not the bottle, a pill. Stuff like that. It's just ridiculous that they go, that extreme with it, but they're, again, we're getting away with it, I hate to go here, but like when old boy got assassinated earlier this year, whatever it was, from United Healthcare.
Right.
People were actually applauding that. Why? Because United Healthcare was one of the biggest suppliers of healthcare, and they were literally taking advantage of, the system itself. Every time, we get a bill that we have where, we can get in and negotiate some of these healthcare costs and all this other kind of stuff, prescription drug costs and all that stuff, I'm sorry, the party that's in power at this point, they voted down, and that's because we got money in politics and, again, I'm talking about the reason for all this stuff, but the saddest thing is man, I can't imagine living, in a rural part of the state where these hospitals and stuff are getting shut down, and I might have, some sort of illness to where I might need to make, trips to the emergency room, a couple times, 3 times a year, well, however many times, depending on what the illness is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't shut my hospital down because they can't afford to stay open with these cuts. And now, okay, I'm stuck way out here in the, 100, 200 miles away from the closest hospital. That don't make no sense at all, period.
No.
So, or as Gavin Newsom say, period, stop, you know.
That's cute. I like that.
And again, but, I know he's going to do everything he can while he's still in office because this is his last term as governor. I'm not going to say he's the greatest governor that America's had, but again, for all the wrong he's done, he's also done a lot of good for the state of California. So, but anyway, I mean, no, this stuff is just crazy, man. I mean, it doesn't make no sense. You didn't have to do all of this stuff. And then when you really get into it, the only reason they're making all of these cuts is to do what? Give corporate and the richest Americans, the top 1%, more tax cuts. So I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, what's your opinion on this, Carol?
I mean, I've said it before. The American dream is corporate greed, and it's individuals like the majority of us that have to suffer. You know, people nowadays just keeping their job is tough, and the income that they receive for what they do is just not enough. A lot of people, if insurance is not on the job, they just flat out can't afford it unless they have another source of income where they can allocate that as a bill to have some form of health coverage. It's just tough. Everything constantly goes up but our income, and people are just trying to survive. And you seem to be cutting the programs that the majority of Americans need the most. And it's like, if you can't afford the best type of food, you can't afford health coverage, you're barely making it on your job. I mean, you can't pay your rent. Or if you are struggling to begin with, it's like you have this sense of desperation or just the survival instinct of trying to, get with other individuals that probably aren't really healthy for you, but just to have an extra income. You're doing other things to try to just allocate life, because just doing it on your own doesn't seem to work, and you're doing everything right, but it's never enough. So, I don't agree with what this administration is doing. And I'm not a big person of politics, but it's right in our face. We don't have any choice but to look at our surroundings. If it's not happening to us, it's happening to somebody we know, or eventually somebody we know.
Right.
If we hadn't come across that, and it doesn't seem to be getting better, it seems to be getting worse. I can't give that praise to my mayor down here in Dallas, Texas. I did not vote for him, but he's there. And before him, they seem to be able to hold these chairs of office, but they don't seem to regard the individuals that are around them, the voices that they hear. They seem to follow someone who's in a whole nother state, and they're always trying to build up themselves and make more money, more money, more money, and cutting the things that don't allow others, the majority of Americans, to make more money. And it's a sad state that we live in. The world that we have, it's like, even though I don't have children, I wonder what the future holds for them. Because if you don't have some form of degree or some type of trade or, some other transportation service to lead you to another planet that's viable, I don't know the existence of what's going to become.
Right. I mean, I agree. I mean, again, I mean, it's sad that, that we got this two-party system that, people become biased to their party and they don't listen to the people that's actually electing them to office, the people that they're
Right.
supposed to serve. They're listening to their other political members, like you say, it might even be, folks from other cities, other states, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They doing what they are dictating rather than what your people need,
Right.
I mean, again, throughout the whole, day, you're going to hear them say continuously about, and I'm pretty sure I heard it in this article as well, about, you know, creating a way for creating people to be more self-reliant, but yet you're taking away the tools that we need to become self-reliant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You're giving corporate and the rich these tax breaks, but yet they're not paying their employees any money. They're not paying them living in a wage to where they
Right.
can take care of themselves and be self-reliant. They're
Mm-mm.
paying them just enough to keep them coming to work, but at the same time, you're not giving them health care, so now they got to follow on these same programs that you're now cutting, right?
Right.
All this, I mean, again, you hear in there, okay, you got to work a minimum 80 hours a week, whatever. Okay, cool. I mean, 80 hours a month. I mean, I get that. So, it lets me
And I
know
was
that
going to ask, did I mishear that? They're saying, okay, that's 20 hours a week.
well, it's
So,
20 hours a week. So, my point being, if you work at McDonald's part time, right,
right.
as long as you put in at least 20 hours a week, you can still get your Medicaid.
Ah, okay.
You
But
follow what I'm saying?
that's what they're
But
saying.
what are
Right.
we doing? Now we are subsidizing
Right.
McDonald's
Yes, we are.
with health care. We're subsidizing Walmart with health care.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these big box stores and all that stuff where they don't, because retail is not 40 hours a week.
Oh,
You know,
no.
matter of fact, they cutting retail down to almost 20 hours a week. And the way now with some of this other stuff, these tariffs and stuff like that,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
again, they're cutting these retail jobs because the stores just they can't handle it no more. So
No.
again, but anyway, we are.
And a lot of people are just utilizing those jobs as part-time jobs because just having a full-time is not enough.
No,
It's
it's
just
not.
not enough.
I mean, again, it used to be, it ain't no more of a, the father knows best thing,
Oh,
where
no. Where the
daddy went
dad
out and
works and the
worked
mom
and
stays at home and raises
mom
the
and stayed
family.
home. I mean, it wasn't all the way true even back then. I mean, definitely the house mom, the housewives was not walking around with skirts, blouses, and high heels on while
All right. They had
they
sweat
were.
on their forehead or earning your
I
starched
mean,
shirts. And
we just recently started recognizing the fact that a stay-at-home mother was actually participating in a full-time job. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Running a household is a full-time job. I mean,
yeah, it
between
is.
cleaning the house, paying the bills, doing the shopping, buying all the groceries, cooking all the
Mm-hmm.
meals, doing, all the laundry, whatever need to be done. The only thing she didn't have to do was take out the trash and wash the car, you know. So, I mean, again,
Or mow the yard.
well, that part, as well. But again, you know, it's not what you see on TV. Reality is not what you see
No,
on
it's
TV.
not.
Hell, even with in the new wave of what they want to call reality TV, it's not. That's not reality. Most
No.
of them TV shows are scripted and they are not true reality. So, I mean,
Oh,
again,
no.
don't buy into that. Pay attention to what's going on in your house. Pay attention to what's going on, in your friends' houses and stuff. You know how they have to deal with certain things. Mom and dad, 9 times out of 10, unless dad really got a really, really dad or mom got a really, really good job, you know, then chances are both folks got to work. I mean, it's just
Right.
that simple. I mean, there's a lot of people now that are actually just, grouping up and getting a place together so that they can afford to maintain a proper place to live because they can't afford that place on their own.
True.
And that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
It really is. It
So,
really is.
Anyway, we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to be a lot more moaning and complaining or whatever you want to call it throughout this whole day. So, but we're going to run a couple of these promos and then we'll be right back with you.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United.
Hey, Coffee Time crew, we got something new. Support the mission and look fresh too. Fresh rock that blue with the logo in white. Blind United shirts, yeah, they feeling right. Just 20 in and you're part of the cause. Helping blind folks level up, no pause calls. From Jaws with Andy to Hall Ace Tips. Support group love and crochet kits. Movie nights rolling, the vibes are lit. Every shirt you buy helps all of it. So cop that tee, be proud to wear. You're lifting up lives with every pair. Email us now, don't let it slide. Info@Blind United or join the pride.
Join the pride.
Well, I am definitely proud of what we have created together. I mean, yeah, okay, it might be my brainchild or whatever it is, but I can't do none of this without all of you. And, again, without your support and your participation, Blind United wouldn't even be a thing. So we're just going to continue to do what we do, and we're going to continue to grow. And we're going to continue to, fight the odds and keep moving forward and try to build, a united community of blind people that we all speak with one voice. So,
amen.
Anyway, this next one, the first one was all about healthcare. This second article now is about, what's going on in the housing thing. So check this out.
Hey, Blind United crew, grab your next cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this second article. As President Trump's second term continues, housing policy is undergoing a major transformation. The administration's approach emphasizes deregulation, cost-cutting, and shifting control from federal agencies to state and local governments. These changes are being felt across the country, from large cities to small towns, and are sparking both optimism and concern. One of the most notable shifts involves federal rental assistance programs, particularly the Housing Choice Voucher Program, commonly known as Section 8. The administration is pushing for stricter eligibility rules, including mandatory work requirements for able-bodied adults receiving housing support. These requirements aim to encourage employment and reduce long-term dependency on government aid. However, in areas with limited job opportunities or high unemployment, these mandates may result in families losing access to stable housing. In addition to eligibility changes, the administration is restructuring how funds are distributed to local housing authorities. By streamlining oversight and reducing federal involvement, states are gaining more flexibility in how they manage housing programs. Supporters argue this will allow for more tailored solutions that reflect local needs. Critics worry that without consistent national standards, disparities in access and quality of housing support will grow. The administration is also shifting priorities within the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Funding is being redirected toward landlord incentives and infrastructure improvements, with the goal of encouraging private sector participation in affordable housing. Simplified paperwork and faster reimbursement processes are designed to make federal programs more appealing to property owners, potentially expanding the pool of available housing. At the same time, staffing reductions at HUD are raising concerns about the department's ability to monitor housing quality and enforce fair housing laws. With fewer personnel available to conduct inspections and respond to complaints, tenants may face longer wait times and reduced protections. Another area of change is the removal of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives from federal housing programs. These programs previously supported efforts to address systemic barriers faced by marginalized communities. Their elimination has sparked debate about whether housing policy is moving away from its role in promoting social equity. Despite these changes, the administration maintains that its housing strategy will lead to greater efficiency, reduced fraud, and increased self-reliance. By empowering local governments and encouraging market-driven solutions, officials believe the housing crisis can be addressed more sustainably. However, the reality on the ground is complex. In cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Atlanta, rising rents and limited affordable housing stock continue to strain families. In rural areas, aging infrastructure and limited development pose different challenges. Whether these policy shifts will alleviate or exacerbate housing insecurity remains to be seen. We invite our listeners to share their thoughts or experiences with housing programs in their area. Your voice matters, and your story could help shape future policy. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
So, again, you hear that self-reliance thing. How am I supposed to be self-reliant when I can't afford the housing that's available because you took, my subsidy away, and I can't get the job to pay me a living wage so that I can afford the housing and the food and everything else I need to be self-reliant. Something else a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't know it for a very, very long time, but I used to think Section 8 was just Section 8. You know what I'm saying? But come to find out, they got state Section 8 and they got federal Section 8. So if somebody has a federal Section 8 voucher, which it sounds like they might be getting ready to take that away. Let's just say, the jobs and all this stuff died out in the place where you at, right?
Right.
And you had a federal Section 8 voucher. You can travel all the way to another state and use that voucher in another state where you could possibly find a job or something, right? State stuff, it's not that easy. Again, once you get locked in, you kind of pretty much locked in. It's really, really hard to, transfer to a new facility, building or, place to rent, whatever kind of situation. California does also have some other stuff what they call low income housing, where they just have a program where they got, nonprofits that help out and, they basically paying about a third of your rent or 50% of your rent, whatever the case may, depending on the program that housing facility offers, right? But again, you're taking away the programs that are helping people become self-reliant. You're forcing them to do what they're not ready to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous, and then again, you're cutting back on the staffing for HUD. So now they can't monitor. So basically what you're doing, you're giving a lot of these places a free pass to become slumlords. And trust and believe, I know a lot of people live in places now where they can't get the manager or property management, whatever, the owners to do the proper maintenance on the property. It's just ridiculous. Again, it's slumlords. You're making people live in conditions that you would not yourself be willing to live into. You would not allow the people to do this to you, but yet you're forcing people to do this, just so they can maintain a roof over their head. Maybe they can only use one or two outlets in the whole house because the rest of the wiring is all jacked up. But Again, it's cool for you to make us do it, but that's a standard that you would not accept.
Mm-hmm.
So come on, man. I mean, it just don't make any. It's really really crazy. So I'll let you give you your part, Carol, and we can go back and forth a little bit on it.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you. I think that everybody should have a safe place to lay their head and it be affordable. You know, everybody deserves comfort. We got veterans that are walking the streets laying on the ground. I mean, it's so much that's out there that could make this happen. And this is the very thing you want to cut. Now individuals that need help should be able to get it. They shouldn't have to jump through hoops. Yeah, it's always going to be some bad actors wherever. There's always somebody that's going to manipulate the system. But you should treat each individual like you do their identity separate. And based on whatever it is that they need, allow them to qualify for it. Down here, there is a years waiting list for somebody to get a home. And the majority of individuals, what they have to do now, I did not know the thing about the federal, but majority of what individuals have to do in order to say get down on that list is to actually apply for something outside of Dallas, like Forney or Lancaster or Plano, and their numbers can shrink dramatically to where they're able to get a home and be assisted, whether it be half the rent or just depending on their working situation or their not working situation. But everybody should have a place where they can lay their head and feel comfortable. And I don't think that they should ever touch things that are needed. Like I say, there's always going to be somebody, fraud or something, where people misuse the system. But those are the individuals you need to penalize. I mean, they do it like on jobs. Instead of addressing that one person that's always late, now we got a memo. The whole building got a memo about this is what's going to happen when we're all late. No, treat each individual just like that. Treat their case separate. Don't base what somebody else did to mess up the system. Now let that be a reason why I can't qualify for a home. So by them cutting that, like you say, they don't have people monitoring safe places, and so people are forced to. I know people that are living in places where they scared to say something because they're afraid they're gonna be put out on the street. you
Yeah.
know and they just won't complain because they scared. So they just tolerate it. And nobody should have to tolerate unsafe conditions ever. But people do it every day based on just situations like this, where people that mess it up make it bad to where they can't move anywhere else, and I think they should just penalize those individuals and kick them off the program, make them pay the money back, however you got to do it. But for
Right,
the
right.
ones that truly need it, don't don't penalize them or disregard them based on them actually needing a roof over their head based on somebody else's misuse of the system. That's just wrong.
Right, right, right. I mean, and again, like you was talking about folks having to leave out of Dallas to go somewhere else in order just to get on a list. I mean, that's a state thing that they
Right,
do. I mean, even out here, you apply and they say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and give you a voucher, but you're going to have to go, to a whole nother county and live in an area where they have a surplus of housing, right? And then
right,
you got to stay there for 3-4 years away from your support system,
right,
right? In order to get the voucher, and then after you're there for a few years or whatever the term is, then you can apply for something more locally to where you want to be, right?
right,
I mean, again, I'm not against regulations to where if you are able-bodied and able to work, that you must. Again, I'm not mad at that $80, 80 hours a month. You know what I'm
right.
saying? That's a part-time job. If you
Yeah, it
are
is.
able-bodied and able to do the work, then yes, I'm with that. That should be a requirement for
Right.
you. But
That's right.
what about the people that can't? You know what I'm saying? What about the children, right? So now you putting all this burden on the parents of these children, and now the kids are suffering, right? So I mean,
Hmm.
it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense the way they do stuff. And on the same note, just like you're going to penalize us for not following the guidelines you have for us, penalize the property owners, management companies, whatever
That's
the
right.
case may be, for them not maintaining. I mean, at one time when everything was flowing good, right? These buildings actually had to live up to a certain set of standards. They had to live up.
Pass code.
They were inspected before they were even granted the opportunity to bring in somebody that was Section 8. And you had to maintain that standard throughout the term of these people being on your property. But now, due to lack of funding and cutting the staff, right, that
Hmm.
would do all of that, perform those inspections and handle all those various paperworks and all that kind of stuff. Now you're just giving these folks a pass to do whatever they want to do. Look, okay, well, you don't like to move. Well, I ain't got nowhere I can move. I'm stuck. I'm
Right.
stuck
Right.
living here in something that's truly unsafe. You know, I mean, because some of these places get unsafe. So again,
Hmm.
it's just crazy the way they do a lot of this stuff, and I just think there's got to be a better way. There's
It
really definitely
is.
a better
I
way.
believe it is, Ed. They just, they probably just won't look into it. Again, it's a money pot. And if you make too much noise or bark about whatever it is that you're not happy about, you get an eviction notice on your door. They can easily replace you with someone else that they can still get money from the government for, and continue to be a slumlord because somebody else wants where you lay that's not comfortable to you anymore, even though you're complaining, because nobody should be comfortable, but somebody else will be happy to move into your spot out of a shelter.
Well, I mean, again, and then when they, like when they say, when they put you out, what are they going to do? Go in there, slap some paint on it, put the lipstick on the pig.
Right.
When you come in to look at it, it looks real good. And then once you move in and you start really, settling in, you find out, well, wait a minute, why is the outlet not working on this whole wall over here? On both sides. The living room and the bedroom. The outlets on that wall are not working. And why is the fan in the bathroom or whatever? What? Just different little things.
Because that's true. When we go in, or at least I know people that when I could see walk through an apartment or a home with them, they ain't sticking things in the electric socket to see if it worked. They just, like you say, looking around. They're not turning on ceiling fans. They not checking
assuming that
checking
everything.
things like that.
Yeah, they just assuming that everything is
That
going to work.
everything's good. Hmm.
And they don't know until you get in there. And then when you get in there, you make the
If they didn't build
realization
it
that
up, if
you
they
know
didn't
what I
build it
mean.
up straight from the ground like a car, is used, and if it's used, more than likely it's something wrong with it.
Well, I mean, again, like I say, once you come in and you realize, okay, well, there's some issues here, and then you make out a list and you go take it to your manager or whatever the case may be. Oh, okay, well, we didn't realize that. We'll get to it just as soon as we can. And then next thing you know, 6 months, a year down the road, you're still dealing with them same issues. And not only are you dealing with those same issues, chances are some brand new issues done arisen.
Wow.
You know what
Right,
I'm
right.
saying? So, I mean, it's crazy the way they do this kind of stuff.
Yep, vicious
So, I mean,
circle.
it's truly, truly sad. So, anyway,
And
we got to,
unfortunately, people have to live in that situation until something improves. But this is just the Medicaid and, like you say, Medi-Cal system that's out there that, they're cutting funds to where a lot of these things that people need, they're suffering through because they need a place to stay.
well, like I said, whether it's healthcare or housing that we just finishing up, or
Right.
the next one, which is going to be, on the income side, So, but anyway, we at the end of this segment, and we're going to run a couple more promos, and then we're going to jump into this last article. We'll be right back with you. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray-Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS game night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
Have you ever wondered what it's really like to be blind? Ever wanted to ask questions but held back, afraid of offending? Blind United invites you to replace that fear with fun, learning and connection at our 4th annual walk. A mile in my shoes challenge. Join us Saturday, October 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Wayfinder Family Services, 50 Hunt and Angeles, Vista Boulevard, Los Angeles. Experience everyday attacks, blindfolded, like pouring a cup of water. Try assistive technology like screen reader computers and iPhones. Get a hands-on braille lesson and discover how independence is built every day. Smile, laugh, and learn alongside the blind community. No pressure, just pleasure. Help us build bridges, close gaps, and make connections. Walk a mile in my shoes and see the world in a whole new way.
Walk a mile is what we do. You would be amazed at, the understanding that you can gain about the blind community by attending one of our Walk a Mile events. I've always said, if we only had awareness of each other, right, we'd be a much better planet to live on, right? And
Yeah,
this
well.
is, with this Blind United, just doing our part, trying to, let people understand what it's like to be blind, how we have to live our lives. You know what I'm saying? I'm sending these emails out to all of these legislators. I got a list of 3 more city legislators
Wow.
that I'm going to be sending out today, right? Because, I leave it up to you guys. You want to bring your family and get them to understand, why you need the cabinets closed, why you need them to quit moving your stuff around. That's what this is for. But it's also for us as an organization to advocate for our community and bring these city legislators into this arena to where they can now see why when we come and ask for certain things within the community, like an audible signal or tactile strips here and there and whatever, you know what I'm saying? Now they understand why, because they came, they took the challenge, they tried to do what we do, blindfolded with a sleep shade on. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
Right.
We got a little better understanding about what these people are going through on a daily basis. So, again, if you want to be part of what we're doing, whether it's, bringing your family out, whatever, we truly, truly appreciate it. If you want to be a part of it by supporting what we do by, monetary donation or whatever, we'd appreciate that as well. But either way, we're going to keep doing what we do because that's what Blind United is all about, trying to do the best we can for our community so that we can live our best life. So anyway, we're going to get into this last article. It's about income and, income and inequality in income. So check this one out, and then we'll close out.
Hey, Blind United crew, grab your last cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this third article. As President Trump's second term progresses, his economic agenda is reshaping the national conversation around income, jobs, and equity. With a focus on tax cuts, deregulation, tariffs, and workforce development, the administration is betting that a leaner government and a more aggressive trade posture will stimulate growth and restore American prosperity. But for many working families, the results are mixed and the stakes are high. At the center of the administration's strategy is a renewed push to extend and deepen the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This includes proposals to reduce corporate tax rates even further, eliminate taxes on tips and overtime pay, and expand deductions for state and local taxes. Supporters argue these changes will put more money in Americans' pockets and encourage investment. Critics counter that the benefits are skewed toward the wealthiest households and large corporations, with limited trickle-down effects for low and middle-income earners. The administration is also expanding Opportunity Zones, a program designed to attract private investment to economically distressed communities. These zones offer tax breaks to investors who fund development projects in underserved areas. While some communities have seen new businesses and infrastructure improvements, others worry that the benefits are bypassing residents and fueling gentrification rather than genuine economic inclusion. In the labor market, the Trump administration is emphasizing vocational training and apprenticeships as alternatives to traditional college pathways. These programs aim to prepare workers for high-demand sectors like manufacturing, logistics, and construction. While this approach has bipartisan appeal, questions remain about access, scalability, and whether these jobs offer long-term stability and upward mobility. Meanwhile, the administration's tariff-heavy trade policy is having ripple effects across the economy. New import taxes on goods from China, Mexico, and Canada are intended to protect American industries and reduce the trade deficit. However, these tariffs are also raising prices on everyday items, from groceries to electronics, and straining global supply chains. For working families already grappling with inflation, these added costs are hitting hard. The administration's aggressive push to reduce the size of the federal workforce is also drawing attention. Layoffs and agency downsizing are part of a broader effort to cut government spending and shift services to the private sector. While this may reduce federal payrolls, it also risks weakening essential services and increasing unemployment in regions that rely heavily on government jobs. Despite these challenges, the economy has shown signs of resilience. Unemployment remains relatively low, and some sectors, particularly domestic manufacturing and energy, are seeing renewed investment. But income inequality remains a persistent issue. The wealthiest Americans continue to see gains from stock market growth and tax advantages, while many households struggle to keep up with rising costs and stagnant wages. Public opinion is sharply divided. Supporters of the administration see these policies as a necessary reset, one that prioritizes American workers and rewards productivity. Detractors argue that the gains are uneven and that the long-term risks to economic equity and stability are being ignored. We invite our listeners to share their thoughts. Are these policies helping your household? Are you seeing more opportunity or more uncertainty? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, excuse my language, but no, not no, but hell no, they're not helping my household. I mean, again, all these things, I'm going to lower costs on this, on day one, I'm going to lower groceries, I'm going to lower this, I'm going to lower that, my utilities are going up. I mean, it's a good 10, 20%. I know my groceries have gone up at least 20%, and so on and so forth. I mean, transportation has gone up. I mean, everything around us is going up. I mean, we're here in California. A lot of the country, they get a better break on the gas and stuff like that because California, we got seasonal gas because of all of our smog laws out here. But trust and believe,
Wow.
out here we paying like $5 a gallon. You know, I mean, you get gas on a deal at somewhere about $4.50. You
Mm.
know, and that's if you go to one of these like Costco or whatever, got a Costco card where they're giving you a discount because you're a Costco member, whatever. You know, but shit, try to pull into one of them name brand gas stations and get some gas. Oh Lord, you better have some money. You know what I'm saying? The average to fill up a tank now, what, $100?
Woo.
Come on, man. I mean, it's crazy. You know, I mean, you think about it, Carol. $5 a gallon, 20 gallons. That's $100, baby.
Yeah, it is all day.
You know, so I mean, again, that stuff is crazy. You know,
Yeah.
it's not getting better. It's getting worse. You're giving more money to people that don't need any more money, right? And you're taking it
Mm-hmm.
away from the people that actually do need it. And the article also misrepresented something here. The rich are getting a tax break, but the poorest in society actually are going to be paying between $800 and $1,000 or more a year in taxes.
Ooh.
Okay, due to this supposedly big, beautiful bill. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I mean, a big, beautiful blunder is what it is. Know what I'm saying? It's not right. It's not
Mm-mm.
right. I mean,
It is not.
people, a lot of people talking about, like when California passed a law a couple of years ago, all of our fast food workers out here, they get paid $20 an hour. Okay, a lot of people, oh no, that's crazy. You get $20 for working an hour for working at McDonald's. Yeah, cost of living is out like that out here. Okay,
Right.
so they
Right.
deserve $20 an hour, and that's not a living wage in California.
Right. Right.
Plus most of those jobs are not full-time jobs. So now you got to go get a part-time job at McDonald's, and you got to go get another part-time job at Subway. And if you got enough time left on your hand, you can go get another part-time job at Dorina Schnitzel, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just so you can make enough money to provide yourself with if you're lucky, a one-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? All this money they talking about, trying to promote this, promote that. Regentrification is what's going on. I'm talking about like in the city of LA, in South Central LA right now, houses that are 50, 75 years old are selling for $1 million.
Mm.
And these houses are, like I said, 50, 75 years old.
Wow.
Okay? I mean, another example I always like to use, when we were putting in our subway system out here, a lot of people might remember it from the movie, what was that, Speed 2?
Mm-hmm.
When the train came up out of the ground in Hollywood, in one of the action scenes, right? So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, when they were cutting that tunnel through Hollywood, it was completed in less than a year.
Oh
When they
wow.
when they cut that tunnel coming through South Central, it took 5 years. And the
What?
main business districts, a lot of people, you hear it in the song, rolling down Crenshaw.
Mm-hmm.
Crenshaw was all the businesses, the mom and pop businesses and stuff that were along Crenshaw, they couldn't survive. They couldn't survive. At the end of them 5 years, most of them had went out of business. So what did they do? They regentrified. You know what I'm saying? Now you
Mm-hmm.
got all of these chain franchises, all up and down Crenshaw now. Again, it's no more mom and pop stuff no more. So I mean, again, the money is not going where it's needed. It's going to where they wanted to go to, and what they want to do. Out here, as we say, certain folks that was leaving LA because it was getting dark.
Mm-hmm.
Now they, what? We tired of commuting. We gonna drive y'all back out of. We gonna run the prices up so high that y'all can't afford them. So now you're gonna move out, and that's gonna leave it for us to come back. So we don't have to drive but 15 minutes to go to work, other than commuting, 30 minutes,
Right.
hour,
Right.
half. I mean, because in traffic, traveling, let's say from out here where I'm at into LA during that peak traffic hour, it could be 2, and a half to 3 hours
Oh no.
to go 60 miles.
What?
Okay, it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, they're regenifying and moving people where they want them to be instead of where the people want to be, right?
Right. Right.
Due to affordability, it is making it impossible for people to afford to live there. I mean, again, a one-bedroom place out here is $1,500 a month.
Mm.
1,500 for a small one-bedroom. Okay,
Right.
you might be able to get a studio. It's got a little kitchenette in it. For $1,100-$1,200 a month. But
Mm-hmm.
I know people that are renting rooms from people and paying $600 a month. Okay, I mean it's crazy. It's just crazy. So,
Mm.
hey, we got to do something about all this stuff. So anyway,
Oh yeah. I don't see the income getting any better. All I see is that since January the 20th, and mind you, we're just about to get into September. I hadn't seen anything get better. I've seen everything go up, 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 except again the income. We were just talking about this, and people's survival. Here minimum wage I think is 7.25. But a lot of people, like you say, they have to work more than one job, and they can't afford to live alone. It's either they're paying for rooms, boarding houses. Some are actually in shelters, or some live with people or several people, to try to just make ends meet, and they have to hold more than one job, and of course go without insurance depending on what types of jobs they have. And it's just unfortunate, just the way that the world is. Now our gas is not $5 a gallon, but I think, uh, when we went to the gas station yesterday, it was like 3.20, I think 3.29 or something like that. And that's not bad, uh, but it is bad. So it's higher than it's been. Nothing seems to have changed, but everything is blamed on the administration prior, right? But anyway, it's just I know that we have to try to just hold on, stay true to the belief that maybe something will change, but it's not just in California, it's here in Texas, and I'm a red state. And now, even though the Democrats tried to hold face and not give away this territory and these 5 extra seats, and just because of what the dictator himself said, uh, they have the seats. But, now they have to go to court to try to figure out, okay, was this legal? Of course it wasn't. Are you kidding? Well, you got to waste time to even figure that out. But that's where we stand.
right. I mean, and that was the
So,
crazy part about it. I mean, back down there, they did it in the darkness of night, right?
right,
Not anybody's. The only person that requested it was, the person says, I'm entitled to 5 seats. Okay.
right.
But now they want to actually, even though they just did it, although the courts are holding it up right now,
Mm-hmm.
now they want to go after California, saying that no, it's illegal for us to do it. But
Yeah.
yet we're taking it in front of the people. Well, the people in California are going to be voting in November on whether we want to allow California to redistrict our stuff on a temporary basis, mind you,
Right.
a temporary
Right.
basis, not a permanent basis. Because once you give up them seats down there in Texas, you ain't getting them back. Okay,
No, of course not. Never.
not under
That's done.
not
That's a done deal.
as long as it's a red state. Those seats are going to stay in place, and that's another reason why they want them states them seats so they can maintain that state
Oh
staying
yeah,
red.
for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying?
Because
But
it's
again,
slowly changing, and that's the sad thing about it. And people can look at that, especially
uh,
the wrong side, and see that we, even the red people, they're not liking what's
Well,
going on.
and that's what they don't realize right now. I'm gonna cut it short after this because we are at the end of the hour. But
All right.
again, they they don't realize that because of their blatant disregard for what they promised their people,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and they're not giving right what they
Right.
promised.
Nope.
Now their own people are turning against them.
Turning against them, baby.
So my point being, if we are blessed enough to still have a democracy when the end of 27 roll around, there will be a new president in 28. Trust and
Right.
believe. And he will not be a Republican.
No.
Okay, so
No.
on that note, I'm gonna call this one to an end. Hope y'all enjoyed the politics because I ain't no telling when I'm gonna get back into it. I've been trying to stay away from it. I'm trying to be a good guy. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, if you like what we're doing here, please like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, all that good stuff. It doesn't cost you a dime and it helps us so much, you know. But if you happen to have it, again, like I said, we ain't gonna turn it down. Whether it's $5, $50, $5 million, I don't care. Just whatever you can give, we truly would appreciate it. So until then, well, until tomorrow, everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Don't forget to join us tonight with Let's Talk Spanish at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time for Mr. Bautista and Let's Talk Spanish. So until then, everybody have a great evening.